You've been doing it the same way for decades, and you never thought twice. But what if I told you that your private routine, something you've done your whole life, could now be the reason your sex life is slowly falling apart after 60? That the very technique you've relied on for comfort, release, even stress relief, is now silently destroying your sensitivity, your connection, and your ability to feel real pleasure? This isn't scare talk. This is real. And most men don't realize it until it's too late. I'm Dr. James, a urologist and men's health specialist with over 30 years of experience helping men reclaim their confidence and restore their sexual health. I've seen firsthand how a simple, everyday habit, masturbation, when done the wrong way, can gradually sabotage everything from desire to performance to intimacy. And yet no one talks about it. Here's what might surprise you. It's not how often you do it. I'm done by this. It's how. And after 60, the way you touch yourself matters more than ever. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what's going wrong, why your technique could be working against you, and most importantly, how to fix it. Because your best years in the bedroom aren't behind you. They're still ahead. 1. The death grip technique. It often starts innocently enough. Over the years, many men develop a certain rhythm, a specific pressure, a method that gets the job done. But what's rarely understood is how this habit, especially when it involves using a tight, forceful grip, can train your body in the worst possible way. Known informally as the death grip, this technique might feel effective in the moment, but over time it desensitizes the very nerves responsible for pleasure. As men age, nerve sensitivity naturally decreases. The skin becomes less responsive, the blood flow slightly less robust, and the brain-to-body feedback loop slows down. When you compound that with years of overly aggressive stimulation, your body stops responding to gentler, more natural forms of touch, the kind experienced during real intimacy. The tighter the grip, the more stimulation it takes to reach climax, and eventually nothing feels good enough. For many men, this leads to frustration, delayed ejaculation, or the inability to finish during sex. They blame age, their partner, or stress without realizing the root cause is right in their own hands, literally. But the damage doesn't stop with physical sensation. Emotionally, it creates a gap between you and your partner. When you can no longer respond to her touch or find satisfaction in shared moments, doubt begins to grow. In her mind and in yours. The feeling of I'm broken or something's wrong with me slowly creeps in. Intimacy becomes a performance rather than a connection. Confidence starts to erode. The good news? This can be reversed, but it requires awareness and a willingness to change the way you've done things for years. Letting go of the death grip isn't just about using less pressure, it's about retraining your body to feel again, to reawaken those quiet nerves, and to reconnect with the kind of touch that brings true satisfaction, not just release. Now, if this surprised you, you're not alone. But the next habit is even more damaging, and it's one most men don't even realize they're doing. Keep listening, because if you've ever laid face down to finish, you'll want to hear what's coming next. If you're still here and this is resonating with you, drop a number 1 in the comments to let me know you're following along. Now let's keep going. This next point is one most men never see coming. 2. Prone masturbation, stomach or pillow grinding. For many men, especially those who began exploring their bodies in private, prone masturbation, lying face down and thrusting against a bed, pillow, or even a soft surface, felt natural, comforting, and discreet. It offered privacy, pressure, and control. But as years passed, what started as a harmless habit quietly trained the body in a way that no real-life sexual experience could ever match. The intense downward pressure against an immovable surface creates a very specific kind of stimulation, one that is entirely different from what a partner's body can offer. And the more often this method is used, the more the body learns to associate climax with only that kind of touch and position. This becomes a serious issue after age 60 when sensitivity is already decreasing and erections can be less predictable. Many men begin to notice they can reach orgasm alone but struggle to do so during sex with a partner. They might feel confused, embarrassed, or even ashamed, thinking it's performance anxiety or that they're no longer attracted to their spouse. But in many cases, the root issue lies in a deeply ingrained physical habit. The body has become conditioned, wired even, to expect friction, pressure, and positioning that a real partner simply can't replicate. Over time, this disconnection doesn't just affect the body, it affects the relationship. Men often withdraw emotionally, fearing intimacy because of the anxiety that they won't be able to perform. Their partners may feel rejected, unwanted, or question their own desirability. It creates a wedge, silent at first, but gradually widening. What's most concerning is how few men are even aware this is happening. They continue the same routine, unaware that each session is reinforcing the problem. But awareness is powerful. By identifying this pattern and making small adjustments, you can begin retraining your body to respond to real human touch, gently, naturally, and in a way that enhances your connection rather than isolates you from it. But if you think prone masturbation is the worst offender, there's another habit that's even sneakier, and it attacks not just your body, but your mind. It's something millions of men rely on daily without ever realizing the cost. Let's talk about that next. 3. Fantasy dependency and porn overload. For many men, especially those in their later years, the use of fantasy and pornography becomes more than just occasional stimulation. It becomes a routine, sometimes even a crutch. As the body ages and natural arousal becomes more elusive, it's easy to lean on visual content to bridge the gap. The problem is, over time, your brain becomes conditioned to respond only to exaggerated, hyper-stimulating scenarios that have little to do with real-life intimacy. What once was a tool for occasional excitement turns into a silent barrier between you and your partner. Pornography trains the brain to expect a constant stream of novelty, new faces, new positions, new stories. In real life, that kind of variety doesn't exist in the same way. Your partner cannot match the endless novelty of a screen. And the more you rely on fantasy to become aroused, the harder it becomes to feel anything during genuine connection. This can lead to delayed ejaculation, difficulty getting or maintaining an erection, or even a complete loss of interest in partnered sex. You might find yourself choosing screen time over quality time, not out of preference, but out of habit. This disconnect isn't just physical, it's deeply emotional. Your partner may begin to feel unseen, inadequate, or replaced, and you might feel embarrassed, frustrated, or even ashamed, wondering why something so natural now feels so distant. Many men assume it's just part of aging, or that the spark is gone, when in reality it's a pattern that has been trained over years and can be untrained with intention and care. Even more troubling, frequent exposure to intense fantasy changes the very threshold of pleasure in your brain. What used to excite you no longer does. You crave more intensity, more novelty, more stimulation, just to feel the same level of arousal. It's a slippery slope that doesn't end with satisfaction, but with numbness and disconnection. Reclaiming control starts by understanding what's been quietly rewiring your brain for years. But breaking that cycle doesn't just restore your sex life, it renews your sense of presence, confidence, and connection. So now the real question becomes, why do these patterns matter even more after 60? The answer will change how you see your body, your pleasure, and your future. Keep listening. If you're still watching and these insights are hitting home, go ahead and comment the number 1 below so I know you're still with me. Now let's move forward with point number 4. This is where things start to really come together. 4. Why this matters more after 60. By the time you reach your 60s, your body has already been through decades of change, adaptation, and silent wear and tear. What once worked effortlessly now demands more patience, more care, and more awareness. That's not a sign of weakness, it's simply how the body ages. Testosterone levels are naturally lower. Blood flow isn't as strong. Nerve sensitivity begins to dull. These are normal biological realities, not personal failures. But what most men don't realize is how much their long-standing sexual habits, especially masturbation techniques, can either support or sabotage this stage of life. The techniques that may have worked in your 30s or 40s now have a much greater impact. After 60, your body takes longer to recover from overstimulation. The nerves in your penis are more vulnerable to damage from aggressive grip, excessive friction, or repetitive positioning. And when arousal becomes reliant on specific kinds of stimulation, like intense pornography or prone pressure, it trains your body away from what's natural, shared, and emotionally connected. At this age, every habit carries more weight. This matters because your sexual health is no longer just about performance. It's about preserving your quality of life. It's about maintaining emotional intimacy with your partner. It's about protecting your self-esteem, your confidence, and your sense of vitality. The loss of sexual function in later life doesn't just affect what happens in the bedroom. It can ripple through every part of your identity, your relationship, and even your mental health. Men often come to me thinking their issues are inevitable, just part of getting old. But I remind them not everything you experience is caused by aging. Some problems are caused by habits. And the good news is habits can be changed. The body, even after 60, is incredibly adaptive, especially when you treat it with care and intention. Understanding this gives you a new kind of power. You're not just aging, you're evolving. And with the right changes, your sex life doesn't have to decline. It can actually deepen, more mindful, more connected, more fulfilling than ever before. But this journey isn't just physical. In fact, the most painful effects of these hidden habits aren't felt in your body, they're felt somewhere else entirely. Let's talk about that next. 5. The emotional cost, more than just physical. When most men think about changes in their sexual health, they focus on the physical side, erections, sensitivity, performance. But what many don't talk about and often don't even recognize is how deeply these issues affect the mind and the heart. After 60, when intimacy should become more meaningful, more emotionally rich, these physical changes can quietly begin to erode confidence and connection in powerful ways. It starts with a missed moment. Maybe you couldn't perform like you used to, or it took longer than expected, or your body just didn't respond at all. It's easy to brush off at first, but over time, those moments add up. You begin to second-guess yourself. You worry about the next time. You pull away from your partner to avoid embarrassment. And that fear, that hesitation begins to take root, not just in the bedroom, but in how you see yourself as a man. Your partner may notice the distance, but not understand it. She might assume it's a lack of interest or feel unwanted, even though the truth is far more complex. Many men tell me they love their partners deeply, but feel ashamed of their bodies, or feel like they've lost something essential. They isolate themselves emotionally even when they're physically present. The result is a quiet loneliness that builds inside relationships that were once strong. Sexual challenges after 60 don't just affect your body. They affect your sense of worth, your connection to your partner, and your belief in what's still possible. The emotional toll can lead to anxiety, depression, or simply a slow fading of intimacy that neither person knows how to fix. And because masturbation is such a private act, many men suffer in silence, never realizing that small changes in long-held habits could unlock something powerful, not just in the body, but in the relationship. But here's the truth that brings real hope. You're not stuck. This isn't permanent, and you're not alone. There's a way to gently retrain your body, restore your confidence, and rebuild intimacy with intention and care. I've helped hundreds of men do it, and now I want to show you how. Let me walk you through the proven 3-week plan that has changed lives. Stay with me. 6. What you can do, my proven 3-week reset plan. By now, you may be wondering if it's too late to change. Let me assure you it's not. Your body, even after 60, is more adaptable than you think. It's been learning from your habits for decades, and with the right adjustments, it can begin to unlearn the patterns that no longer serve you. That's why I developed a simple but powerful 3-week reset plan that I've used with my patients for years. It's not about stopping pleasure, it's about retraining your body to feel it in a more natural, connected way. The first week is about rest. You take a complete break from masturbation, pornography, and any artificial stimulation. This may feel difficult at first, especially if these habits have been part of your daily life, but it's essential to give your nervous system time to recalibrate. Think of it like resetting your senses, quieting the overstimulation so your body can begin to listen again. In the second week, you reintroduce gentle touch, using your hands only and always with lubricant. The goal here isn't climax, it's sensation. You're learning how to enjoy the process, not rush the result. This step helps rebuild sensitivity, allowing you to rediscover the subtleties of pleasure that rougher techniques may have dulled over time. In the third week, if you have a partner, begin rebuilding intimacy slowly. Focus on closeness without pressure, hand-holding, back rubs, or lying together. If you're on your own, continue practicing mindful touch, exploring what feels good without reverting to old habits. During this phase, many men notice emotional shifts as well. More confidence, less performance anxiety, and a surprising sense of connection, either with themselves or with their partner. This plan isn't a magic trick, but it works. It works because it honors your body where it is now, not where it used to be. And it allows you to rebuild a foundation of intimacy that's deeper, more present, and more fulfilling than before. Real change doesn't come from pushing harder, it comes from slowing down and learning to feel again. But this reset is just the beginning, because what matters most isn't just fixing a habit, it's healing something far more important. Let's talk about that deeper shift and how it starts with the most vital relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. 7. The bigger picture. Healing the relationship with yourself. At the heart of all of this, beneath the techniques, the habits, the physical changes, there's something far more personal. It's your relationship with yourself. For many men over 60, sexual challenges begin to feel like a reflection of failure. You might start to question your masculinity, your desirability, or even your purpose in this chapter of life. And yet what you're really experiencing isn't failure. It's an invitation to reconnect, to rediscover what intimacy truly means. Sex after 60 isn't about performance in the way it once was. It's about presence. It's about touch that means something, not just touch that leads somewhere. It's about honoring your body's evolution instead of mourning what's changed. But that kind of shift doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts inside. It starts when you stop seeing your body as broken and begin seeing it as worthy of care, attention, and patience. Every habit you've picked up over the years was born out of instinct or survival. You found what worked and you stuck with it. There's no shame in that. But now you're being asked to unlearn some of those patterns. Not because you've done something wrong, but because your life, your body, and your needs have evolved. And when you give yourself permission to change, to slow down, and to feel again, something remarkable happens. You start to rebuild not just physical pleasure, but trust, confidence, self-respect. That's the bigger picture. This isn't just about masturbation, it's about reclaiming ownership of your pleasure and restoring the quiet confidence that reminds you are still whole, you are still capable, and you are still deeply worthy of connection. So, as you move forward, remember what you've learned. Let go of the tight grip. Step away from the screen. Reconnect with real sensation. Give your body the space to breathe and give your heart permission to feel again. Because the most powerful changes happen not when we chase youth, but when we embrace this stage of life with intention, with grace, and with a willingness to grow. You haven't lost your spark. You've just been looking for it in the wrong places. And now, you have the tools to find it again, right where it's always been, within you.